Hi, I'm Reva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and I am here at Viking Convention, and this is the new Designer Epic 2. Now, I was pretty excited for two things. One, my friend Sue Hausman is here with us.
Hi, everybody.
And then two, getting my hands on the Epic 2, I was intrigued by the machine, but getting to use it, it's like, oh my goodness, what a fabulous machine this is.
Yes,
So
I
Sue,
agree.
share some of your favorite things, would
Well,
you?
I have to say, when I first saw the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2, I have to share that it is so light and it's so bright. That's one of the things I absolutely love about it. Take a look at the brightness of the screen and the size of that capacitive touch screen and the ease with which you use it. We're not going to talk a lot about embroidery, but the new ribbon embroidery, oh my gosh, guys, you cannot imagine. This is so cool. So you have lots of new options. Look at this one, and it has 3 different ones on there. Really fun to do. But what I really want to share with you is some of the new features that you're going to find. And I want to remind you that you will have a full color user's guide with your new Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2 and new accessory brochures to help you learn to use and get lots more use out of your accessories. But take a look at this beautiful screen. It is gorgeous. And I have to share that basically we have right now the opening screen, but I'm going to say I'd like to start new. So we're going to start new. What I love is that you'll get a pop-up to always suggest anything that you should be doing. That is such a time saver. First thing I have to share is actually something that's optional. I'm going to put a piece of fabric under so that we're ready to go. You know, Husqvarna Viking has had a really big and very comfortable ergonomically foot control for a long time. I've always felt it was one of the best in the industry, if not the best. But wait until you see, and that's, by the way, what comes with your Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2. But wait till you see what's available as an optional accessory. And what right now, for those of you that buy the first ones, I think that you're going to have quality, have you get one of these incredible, it's called the Multifunction foot control. You plug it, the weight of it, you felt it.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
It's amazing. And rubber on the bottom, so it's not going to go anywhere when you put it on the floor. Now, obviously, this would normally be on the floor, but I'm going to leave it up here. It's functioning because I'm bumping buttons, but basically, I'm going to leave it up here because my hand is going to be the foot so that you can see it better. You plug it into your you know you have 2 USB ports with your
Right.
Epic 2. And so you plug it in and a menu comes up. Since I already have it plugged in, I'll just go to the set menu and that will bring up the multifunction foot control menu. Here's the beauty of this multifunction foot control. It actually has 5 functions, and I'm going to share all of them with you. I'm going to clear out the settings right now and say that first it has, of course, a function that runs the machine. So you would be able to stitch the machine. And of course, the function that you can tap the foot control to put the needle down, to put the needle up. So you have those functions built in. But wait till you see this, because now you have functions that you can program. So on the left side of the machine, there's actually a bar. You don't step on it, you just bump it. And I'll show you, and of course with your foot, not with your hand, but you can do stitch restart, foot up, extra lift, reverse, cut function, fix function. What do you use the most? And that could change. If you're doing a lot of decorative work one day, you might program in the stitch restart. But for me personally, the selective thread cutter, that's the one that I use every time I stop sewing. Now I want you to think about, this is the multifunction foot control. These are the function buttons. So what it's going to do, you are going to program the function buttons that you use into your foot control. What do you think about that?
That's cool.
Yeah. So I've programmed in the cut function. What that means is now as I sew, when I simply bump that left lever on the foot control, it's going to tie off, it's going to bring the cutter through and cut the thread, and it's going to raise the foot. What do you think about that?
That's a time saver.
Yeah, big time saver. You don't stop, you don't have to touch a button. You basically simply sew and bump. But there might be something else you'd like to do really easily. A lot of people use reverse. I'm going to go to the little button on the right side, and it right now says no function. Personally, I would probably put the fix button in there to tie off in place, but a lot of people use reverse. So let's talk about reverse. So basically now, reverse is in there. As I'm sewing, when I bump with my foot, the right side. So now do you see how I could go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth by bumping it? And I don't know if you can see, Reva, that those lights are lighting.
They are coming on and
Yeah,
off.
the lights are coming on and off. Now maybe you want permanent reverse. Then you bump it before you start sewing, and you go, and when you bump it again, you'll have forward sewing. So you have the option of programming in the features that you need, that you use the most. Now, one of the other ones that I think is really great to program in is the fact that you can raise and lower, foot up, foot down, with the tap of your heel. So as we sew along here, we can sew to where we're going. And by the way, look, listen to the smooth sound. See how smoothly it feeds forward, how light and bright. But basically when you stop, if you want it up, you would use your heel to tap on the back of the foot control. I'm going to do it with my fingers. One tap would bring the needle, would bring the foot up once, and two taps would bring it up to the extra high lift and drop the feed teeth. And I think you know what that means is you can put more than 3/4 of an inch of bulk underneath there. With the amazing piercing power, you can also sew through it.
Yeah.
But I want you to notice, if you already own a Husqvarna Viking, we now have additional feed teeth in front of the needle and an extra long foot for feeding that fabric, and a built-in dual feed, integrated dual feed, IDF. You say, that hasn't been on Husqvarna Viking, you're right. But today it's the industry standard. And so every machine just about today at the top of the line has feed that is a built-in IDF. But basically, one thing I'm so excited about this is that look at the clearance you have back here. Can you see where my hands are in there?
That's a lot of
It's
space.
way out of the way. So most of them are down in here, but now it's so far out of the way that when you have it down, you use it. When you put it up, and it's just a touch, I can do it with 2 fingers. So that is your built-in IDF, and that's how easy it is to actually set that.
Now, Sue,
Yeah.
one thing I noticed, if you bring your fabric back over,
Yeah.
the fabric that you used and you did the reverse, you were going back and forth and back and forth. You had the dual feed on, and look at how perfectly that tracked.
Great point. That's what
That's
what
pretty
the
amazing.
that's what the integrated dual feed will do for you. It tracks right back over your original stitching.
Yeah, because usually if you go in reverse, a lot of times it ends up looking very messy
And crooked
and it's crooked. So that's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Well, are you ready for the next thing?
Oh,
I
yeah,
love?
do share.
Okay, I'm going to actually go out of that settings menu, and I'm going to go back to sewing. And we are just basically doing a straight stitch here, but I will share with you that with one touch, I can bring up what's called the laser system.
Oh, that's cool.
Laser guidance system. Do you see that red light? Now, basically, I have it way over, and you can adjust this. Some people have great sight. They could have it much dimmer. You have a way down and a way up. When I first did it, I thought, oh my gosh, I need it brighter because I'm rather sight impaired. But look how bright that
That's
can be
really
now.
bright.
And now when we sew, we can actually take and sew. It's 2 inches long. So you can follow your laser light and follow your stitching. It's that easy to do. Look at that. What do you think of that?
That's cool, and I noticed when you first brought it up, it was over an inch away from the needle, so you could use that for hem allowances and everything.
Way out here. Let me share with you. I think quilters are going to love this because look, you can actually put it at the edge of your guide foot.
Right.
So even if you have a flange there, you see how that would guide. You know, once you hit the flange, it's really too late to
It's too late
adjust.
to, yeah.
So now you could be adjusting way out here and adjust it to be a quilting foot. Actually, for half square triangles, you can run one row and then mirror image it and do the other row with it on the other side of the
without
foot.
pre-marking the fabric.
Oh, I'm going to use my cut on my foot control here and bring it up because what you just said, I see a lot of people using it as an edge guide. In other words, I see them taking it and putting it way out. It goes all the way out. And by the way, you have metric, but you also have inches on your needle plate. So you can put it out to 1/4 of an inch, and you could do 1/4 of an inch hem. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
And you could do top stitching along the edge. You can run it along the edge of your fabric, and then you could move it over and top stitch it to it next to it again. So it could be that easy to do.
That is so fabulous.
I mean, the features are just unending. I was saying, somebody said, well, that's in metric. I said, hey, you have this metric and inch ruler right here. So if you want to know what 30 millimeters is, you just go to 30, and it's 1 1/4 inches. So you have that, and of course, if you want to know how long your button is for your buttonhole, you have a button measuring here. Everything is just right at your fingertips.
Which is pretty cool. And I also had noticed in the settings, you could choose metric over
Yes.
inches, which is
Yes.
pretty cool too.
Right.
Well, Sue, thank you so much for showing us this cool stuff. Now, this is pretty awesome. The ribbon attachment is wow.
Yeah.
But the machine itself, the way it sews and how smooth it is and how quiet, it's
Yeah.
such a joy to sew on.
You need to get into the store and get a demo on the new Husqvarna Viking Epic 2. I'll tell you, this Designer Epic 2 really is just over the top.
It is.
In
it is.
ease of operation. And I think you all know you're never going to have an easier machine to use with more improved documentation on how to use it. So check out the Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2 at Quality Sewing, and I wish you all happy
Happy sewing.